I want a governor who is responsive not only to our budgetary needs, but to our quality of life issues.
A leader that's principled, stands on his convictions, but at the same time can negotiate
and can understand what the ramifications of legislation that affect our business community, large and small alike.
We want someone that will understand that we need jobs in this state.
We needed a governor who wants to stand up for all of Connecticut's children.
It has proven he has what it takes to ensure public safety will not be diminished.
Strong, experienced leadership in the governor's office.
Who understands education.
That knows how to work with state government, local government, and the federal government.
Make the government run efficiently and promote job growth.
We need someone who can hit the ground running. We need someone who understands the process.
Dan is completely prepared to be our next governor.
14 years as the mayor of Stamford.
Crime dramatically went down.
He always managed to have a balanced budget with AAA rating.
Track record of respecting public service employees.
14 years of bipartisan leadership.
And we know that Dan understands the problems. He's faced them in his own town.
He didn't shy away from any issue, and he didn't shy away from trying to improve the lives, the quality of lives of all the residents of the city of Stamford.
He knows economic development. I'm from Wethersfield. I work down in Fairfield County. Dan knows how to make things work, and he gets it done.
Stamford is a city where out-of-state businesses come to when they want to grow jobs in Connecticut.
Dan Malloy is probably the best mayor that this state has ever had.
He understands our commitment to education. He understands public safety and the priority of keeping our streets and our communities safe. He understands the importance of human services.
He understands neighborhoods not only in Bridgeport but throughout our state.
And he has a great vision for Connecticut's future.
And he doesn't just say the words, he has a plan.
He's put forward the best plan to keep our youth here in Connecticut, working, living, and contributing to our state.
He can bring that same energy and the same thoughts to the Capitol.
Dan has the experience.
He's actually done it.
Has an extensive background and experience in the criminal justice system.
Bringing businesses and corporations to town and growing jobs.
Elections are about choices. If you believe that which I've accomplished in my life as a member of the Board of Finance and the Board of Education and as mayor of the city of Stamford, if you believe we can recreate our state, that we can grow jobs, that we can do battle with electric rates, that we can make sure that Connecticut becomes the success that we all dream it to be, then you're going to join us at that.
That's why I stand with Dan.
And I stand with Dan.
I stand with Dan.
And I stand with Dan.
I stand with Dan Malloy.
And I stand with Dan.
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 I stand with Dan.
I stand with Dan.
That's why I stand with Dan.
And I stand with Dan.
And that's why I stand with Dan.
And I stand with Dan.
And I stand with Dan.
I stand with Dan.
I stand with Dan.
We stand with Dan.
I stand with Dan.
I stand with Dan.
And I stand with Dan. And I stand with Dan.
And I stand with Dan.
And I stand with Dan.
And that's why I stand with Dan.
Dan Malloy is the person for that job.
He's a stand-up guy.
Just remember, when we win, we change Connecticut forever. God bless you all.
I'm Dan Malloy, and I approve this message.